Hello everyone. Welcome to my very small YouTube knitting channel. My name is Isabelle. I am in France. I have 3 sons and I have 3 cats. Some say it's related. And I'm bringing you these videos to talk about all my knitting adventures, my woolly news and my yarn no by year project for the year of 2022. You may have noticed I haven't uploaded since my last formal video was my report for June for my no by year project, and today it's going to be a video about my report. No, it was my report for May because it's been uploaded on June 10th, and today it's going to be a report for my for the month of June. But I haven't uploaded since, and you may have seen my very short video I made on the 17th of June because so the May report was uploaded on June 10th and my father passed away the day after that, and it's been quite difficult times, let's put it that way. And I was not feeling like turning on the camera and film a video. So it's been 3 weeks, about three weeks. And I wanted to talk about my June no by year, and mostly talking about my life update. So I think it's going to be a very small part for the no by year, and then a bigger part about my life updates. So sorry for this very long introduction, and if this sounds good to you, please stay tuned. So I have this year-long project about my no by year that I have restricted to knitting and yarn and knitting items. Because I was really overspending at the end of 2021, and it sent me into a place I did not like. I was not in no financial difficulty, just I did not like the way I was buying and buying and buying more yarn than I can knit, and that this yarn was accumulating and accumulating in my home. And yeah, I have many projects, I have many ideas. Most of the yarn I bought with an intention. I had a pattern in mind or a project in mind, and whether I cast on and do this project or something else it's not very important to me. The most important thing is I use the yarn that I have. So as I have a lot, I decided, and I wanted to stop this kind of spiral or rabbit hole where you fall down and you go deeper and deeper and deeper in a place that is uncomfortable to you. If you like, or if you love to live in a yarn shop that you have yarn everywhere in your house and that makes you happy, fine, it's really fine. It was not making me happy, it was making me uncomfortable. I've always bought yarn for a project, need that project, or maybe have 1 or 2 projects ahead of me, knit it, and that's it. That's all the yarn since I've been knitting, all the yarn I had been using. So when I was a teenager, when I was a grown-up, so I stopped knitting when my 3rd son was born. Almost stopped knitting when my 2nd son was born, but when my 3rd son was born, of course, I stopped knitting. I had no more time. I was devoting all my time to my work and my children, so I was very happy with that. And in 2018, I had a burnout at work, and knitting helped me get out and heal from that burnout. This is the time I discovered Ravelry. Prior to that, I only was knitting from yarn I got in yarn shops, from huge companies, no indie dyers, no indie producer, no small producer of beautiful yarns. And these big stores had patterns for sale with the yarn, whether it was individual patterns, but most of the time it was through small booklets. So you see a pattern you like, you buy the yarn and you knit it. So this is always what I have been doing. And when I discovered Ravelry, the world opened to me, the knitting world opened to me. I discovered circular needles. I always had been knitting with straight needles, flat patterns, knitted on flat. I discovered circular needles. I discovered circular knitting. I discovered top-down and bottom-up sweaters. I discovered shawls. I discovered scarves. I discovered everything 4 years ago. And since that point, I was very enthusiastic about it. I liked it. I've always liked knitting, even though I had a long gap where I did not knit. And I got into that kind of bubble and role where I would watch YouTube video, people would buy yarn and, show their stash. They would film videos with a whole wall of yarn behind them. And I sort of slowly got into that. And next month in August, if I recall correctly, it's going to be the first year anniversary of my YouTube channel. And I started to make videos because I wanted to report on the woolly news, and I did not find any channel that was sort of doing this. Since then, I found a few channels, mostly, for example, Roxanne Richardson, she has her tidbits, and other channels do that. But there are still very few channels that report on news around wool and fiber. And so I started this channel to do that. Once every 2 weeks, report on what I had seen in the world, in the news, in the wool community, and what had caught my own attention. It was really my own take. I'm not a journalist, and I do not intend to do any real journalistic work. It's only my own eyes on the community. Of course, along these lines, I wanted to talk about my own knitting. So I alternate between these two series, my knitting adventures, which are regular videos as you can find about everywhere else, and the woolly news. And at the end of last year, I got this circle started to spin at a speed that I thought was out of my control, because this company that is make very beautiful yarns was having a sale, and I saw this person knitting with that yarn and doing this, and I want to do it, so I bought the yarn, and etc. etc. And I finally ended up in a point at the end of 2021 where I had, in my opinion, more yarn that I can knit. Not in my lifetime, but maybe I have enough yarn to knit for the next 5 years. Maybe less than that, but maybe 5 years, because in the meantime, sometime at the end of this winter, my mother gave me all of the remaining of her stash. So because she had been a knitter, but she's not knitting anymore. So there is maybe a lot of acrylic yarns, so I'm gonna knit things. I don't like much acrylic yarns, but I don't feel like throwing it away as I have it. So I'm mostly gonna be knitting for other people or blankets or things like that. So I decided to start this no-buy year because I was in a circle or in a spinning wheel that was spinning faster than I could adjust to. And I was feeling I was losing control, and I did not like it. So if you do control what you're doing with your yarn and your stash, and you're happy, that's very, very fine. I wasn't, so I undertook that project. So far, I did not, from what happened, I did not buy anything in June. Zero. So far, my year spending is the same as the last time I talked about it for my May report, and it's 381 euros and 92 cents, sorry. So I haven't bought anything, even though I have been spending a lot of money because, the series Low. I'm not sure I recall how it's called in English. We say in French, never two things without the third one. So maybe it's Murphy's Law or something like that. I will check if it's Murphy's Law. When I was away with my mother, because she lives half a day drive away, I spent the whole week with her to help organize and everything. When I went back, my oven was not working any longer, or when I would turn it on, it would make the whole electricity for the whole house go out. My iron was doing the same thing. So at first I thought there was a problem on the house electricity because we had a huge thunderstorm, and the thunder hit a house a couple streets away from me, but it blew up all the electricity in the whole neighborhood. And they had been doing a lot of work on the grid, the electricity grid, and they came to my house and they replaced the main device where electricity comes in before it gets distributed to my own house. And this is where they count how many watts or whatever I'm consuming and how many I owe them. So they changed all these devices for all the houses. And so I thought, well, something happened because one, my oven, and two, my iron, that are two separate outlets, are making my electricity go off. There's something. So I called the electrician, he came, and after he came back twice because the first time he did not have enough time, that he extensively checked all the electricity in my house. We came up to the conclusion that both of these appliances had gone off and bad at the same time, or roughly at the same time. So I changed my oven, I changed my iron, and so I've been busy here with my work and taking care of all of that, and all the remaining time I have was to go see my mother every weekend and help her with all the administrative work that has to be done after someone dies. And you may have heard things about the French administration. I usually am not too bad with the French administration, and I work for them. I'm a teacher, I work for them. So I can find my way within all the branches and all the things you have to do with a very heavy administration, but that time it was very difficult. Anyway, we are getting out of it now, so I guess that's why I have a bit more headspace to film a video. And and she has never done any administrative or official paper in her whole life, not even her tax return or anything like that. Never, ever. She knows how to write a check, but she almost never did write a check in her whole life. She has a credit card. She knows how to use it. She's never balanced a budget. She's never taken care of her own money. My father was doing all of these things, and he had always told her, if I ever die, everything will be taken care of. You won't have anything to do. And that was maybe in his mind, he was thinking that, or for some things that he had arranged and it was enough. But the reality was that nothing was done. And not only she had to deal with her own pain, and also I did have to do that. But she realized, and I'm not sure she completely realizes, and it's okay, that nothing was taken care of, and we had a lot of administrative work to do so that she can get part of my father's retirement plan. She can't, in France, you can't have the whole thing, so you have a part of it, and you know, there is a very scientific calculation to decide how much you can have of the retirement plan of the person who died. And it's very complicated, and all about, you know, health insurance and everything, all the insurances, and even the bank, they blocked everything that was in my father's name. Of course, once all the paperwork is done, she will have access to it. But she had in her savings account that were in her own name 19 euros in one saving account, and a bit less 90 euros in another one. So she had less than 100 euros in cash that she could spend. That was a bit of a surprise, because everything was in my father's name, and in France, when somebody dies, until all the paperwork is been done and all the legal stuff is done, all the accounts are blocked. So I did a lot of work for her to get part of my father's retirement plan and monthly payments that have been starting on the 1st of July. So it took less than 3 weeks for me to go through that and have her get the money. So that was an important thing. The other thing is that she had no formal medical evaluation, but she forgets about everything. So maybe it's stress, maybe it's her age, maybe it's something else. And she's been calling me crying at 5 in the afternoon, 9, 11 at night, 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 9 in the morning, about the same things that I keep telling her how to do, and that it's been taken care of and I'm going to be taking care of it, or my sister is taking care of it, because my sister has, is doing part of that work, because at some point I could not handle it anymore. And she's very stressed. She forgets everything. Her friends, when we were at my father's ceremony, told me that they had noticed she was forgetting everything. And so I'm worried about her about that too. So we have to have her checked or evaluated, I'm not sure how to say that, by a medical team to see how she's doing, because I'm her daughter, and I don't see her with medical eyes, of course. And every weekend I was driving to see her. So that's half a day drive. I would get up at 5 on Saturday morning and drive to her home and come back on Sunday night. And as I was a week off work to prepare everything for my father's ceremony, and I had, rolled over all this week of work to the next few weeks, including this week, this upcoming week. And so I was full with work every day. And I was not in a mental space where I could film a video. So this is why I did not film anything. This is why I'm filming now, because I feel like it, and I realized that I did not place a formal stop on life updates from my no-buy year, as I haven't bought anything in June. So I'll try to put a timestamp somewhere whenever I shift from the no-buy year to the life update. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So if we are talking about my YouTube channel, there were 38 of you who wrote on my little update to inform of my father's death, passing away. And I would like to thank each and every one of you. I did appreciate very much. You took the time to write, and I really did like a lot what you said. It was, little bits of warmth coming to me in a very cold situation. Because to me, death feels cold to me. And every little bit of joy, happiness, and warmth I could take, I did. And you were part of it. My father passing away also threw me back 14 years ago. And where I experimented also, my husband died and my kids were very small. So it's been pulling some strings back to that time, and it's been difficult too because of that. So that has nothing to do with my father, my mother, or anyone else. But one thing I did at the time was to dive deep into the administrative paperwork, because I hate that. I don't like paperwork. I hate it, and it was a field where I could fight real things or real people at the other end of a real telephone line. And so that helped me. It lasted, in my case, it lasted much longer. It lasted almost 8 months. So that anger, that fight mode, with the kids at the time, it was 2008. The kids were watching the Power Rangers. We set up a Power Ranger team all together to fight. So for 8 months, I was in the fighting mode. I completely flat out after that when everything was finished. And, the next day, I said, what am I going to be fighting now? And I completely flat out. So I got help and everything. And this is also what I've been doing here. This is why I also decided to go headfirst in all this administrative paperwork, and to know that my father's retirement plan was set up and running from the 1st of July, so that's 3 weeks after his passing away. I met one of my friends, former co-worker, yesterday when we were having a walk in the woods. She said in her mother's case, it took over 6 months. So that it took 3 weeks. That means I have been very consistent and very proactive to fight that and these administrative questions. So even though they make me very angry, they also give me an opportunity to be doing things when death is cold and stillness and where you can't do anything any longer. That's my own way. And I also now, what I did not have back then, I also have my knitting now. So I think that this week, I usually film on Wednesdays. I take a couple days to edit and the video, and then I usually schedule it to be live on Fridays. So today we are on a Saturday. I have a heavy week too. So I may edit the video and have it live next Friday. So we are on the 3rd of June. So that means next Friday will be, it will be the 8th of June. I think I'm going to do that. You know, film it today, edit it, and it will go live on the 8th of July, on a Friday afternoon, as I usually do. And I may see if I have enough time to talk about my knitting adventures during this week, if I have enough time to make a video or not. And if I don't, either I will film next week or next weekend if I'm not at my mother's. This weekend I did not drive because I was tired and I needed to sleep. So continue to talk about my knitting because it did help me a lot. I did cast on and finished one project during the time I was on and off at my mother's, and a very small, easy project. And I have my other projects that are going on, so I want to be talking about that. And as far as my Woolly News series, I have been thinking what I am going to be doing, because to report on what I've seen in the wool and the knitting world or fiber world communities, I need to be looking at and following and etc. Okay, Onyx is here. I'm going to interrupt 5 seconds to open to him. Okay, he's in. So yeah, I was saying that to be posting Woolly News, I need to be following, watching, collecting, sorting out what I see and what I like and what I think you may be interested in. So I'm not sure I have right now the mental space to do that, because I loosely follow. I watch YouTube videos. I loosely follow what's happening on Instagram. Instagram application has changed for me in a format where how you scroll is not the same, and I'm not adjusting to it. And I'm not saying that they should not do it. Their own application, their own space, they do what they like. But I have a hard time adjusting to it because most probably I'm focused. And other things, my mind is full with other things, and this is one thing too many. So I have a hard time collecting and thinking and organizing and writing about my Woolly News, what I want to be talking about. So I may pause that part and maybe upload every 2 weeks about my knitting adventures, or maybe once a month. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, and continue to report on my yarn by year. So I may upload less until the pleasure to be making the Woolly News video comes back, and I will resume making them. So at the end of July, I should drive down to the Pyrenees for a short vacation. First, go see my son who is in Toulouse, and he's gonna spend a week with me, and then in the Pyrenees, and well, I'm gonna drive him back to Toulouse, and he's gonna fly back to Normandy to spend some time with his friends. I will, of course, when I drive down, stop by my mother's, and I will stop to her in her house for a few days when I drive back up. I may have to go to see her next weekend. So all of my schedule is all a mess, that I can't really plan ahead what I'm going to be doing. Next week is going to be quite full too, because I have a lot of work, and there is that music festival that hasn't been taking place for 2 years because of the COVID situation here, that is 20 minutes by walking from me. So I have been going to this music festival up from the moment it was the first year, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's rock and electronica and a lot of music I like a lot. There are 4 days this week, and usually it was 3 days and then 4 days, and then this year they have a 5th day that is just the first Wednesday evening, where Muse is coming, so I'm going. So I will be a bit tired during the day, so I may not have enough time to do all of that, and I want to enjoy the little things that I can for now. And I know that my father's death is gonna come stronger with a vengeance at some point. I know it's gonna come. I hope I will be able to see it and do whatever I need to be doing so that I can go over that as completely and easily as I can. And yes, I try to do what I tell them to do at the end of each video. I try to place happiness into my life, and I hope you can also find the way to place happiness into your life, because it's not coming all by itself. The world situation is what it is, my own situation, and your own situation is what it is. And I hope your knitting is bringing you comfort and positive things to focus on. And I hope I will see you the next time. And I thank you very much for watching.